So go ahead.
So my question to you is that this document is for anyone who is interested in trying to understand what Prabhupada wanted and how his society should be managed, right?
Correct.
So someone who's not so much interested in understanding, they like chanting Hare Krishna, they like Prabhupada's books, and that's all they like. This is not for them. Or is it for them?
It's for them, because by the time we're finished, we're going to have a whole website that explains everything from start to finish, so that if a neophyte person comes and goes to our website and he goes to the ISKCON temple, they'll say, I've seen incontrovertible proof that this is, you have unelected GBCs that appoint gurus. How can you do that? That's not what the pure devotee of the Lord wanted. How can you go against the pure devotee of the Lord?
Okay.
So I can see there's a problem, isn't there? Well, let's read a few lines and see how it turns out.
Yes. So the first is A. Is the direction of management a legitimate direct order by Srila Prabhupada, and as such not subjected to any type of disobedience by his initiated disciples? So 1, yes, all direct orders by Srila Prabhupada actually descend from Krishna Loka. There is no question of mistake or human error. The direct written order of the bona fide spiritual master who is in his eternal rasa with Krishna must be considered to be as infallible as Lord Krishna himself. And okay.
Keep going.
2, no initiated disciple of the Uttamadhikari spiritual master can be considered to be infallible. Even residents of Krishna Loka who came to earth to participate as disciples of Lord Chaitanya did not represent themselves as infallible, in spite of the fact they unquestionably were. Number 3, each and every initiated disciple must remain 100% obedient to the direct order of the bona fide spiritual master. Whether such order is written or spoken by the descendant spiritual master. 4, the absolute relationship of a disciple to his Uttam Adhikari spiritual master is accept everything that has been spoken, written by the spiritual master, and do not reject anything that has been spoken, written by the bona fide spiritual master. 5, the Uttam Adhikari spiritual master is factually not different than Krishna. Okay, I've read the first part of it. Mohit Prabhu, do you want to make a point, question, or anything like that?
Or do you want to hear another couple of lines?
Couple of lines, okay.
I guess it's exactly point blank on target, which I think of, yeah.
Okay. B.
Well, hey, do you feel it's point blank on target?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the beginning. It's like a sword fight, with French dueling, with rapier.
Yeah.
You start the battle sort of almost like you bow to your enemy, and your bandhani bows to you, and you snap your blade, and you walk back and forth. But this is the beginning of the waltz, which is going to prove that there's something really rotten in the GBC system right now. Go ahead.
Jai, okay. We're at B. Who is the author of the direction of management? 1, Lord Krishna, by the agency of his pure devotee, is the author of the direction of management. 2, as such, the direction of manager, DOM, must be considered to be of equal authority as Krishna in his original transcendental form, as well as his form as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Yuga avatar of the present golden age of Kali. Okay, now we're going to the second page. C, what is the authority of the spiritual master who is recognized Uttam Adhikari as well as a bona fide Sampradaya Acharya? What is the authority of the spiritual master who is recognized Uttam Adhikari as well as a bona fide Sampradaya Acharya? Number 1, In all respects, the transcendental authority of such spiritual master is none different than the authority of Lord Krishna. There is no scope of doubting the authority of the Uttamadhikari spiritual master. Such spiritual master is very rare and manifests only on the direct order of Lord Krishna. 3. We must recognize the relationship between the disciple, the spiritual master, and Krishna without the interference of the gross and subtle material body. 4. Even the Kanishta Adhikari disciple must be able to at least conceptually see beyond the blind wall of material perception that separates him from being able to understand the actual relationship between the disciple, spiritual master, and Lord Krishna. Number 5. Discipleship begins when the Kanishta Adhikari disciple can understand these three platforms as absolute and transparently clear. So some things might need explanation, Narayana Prabhu. I'll send you the email later about these things. And we're going on to D now. In terms of spiritual authority, is the Uttam Adhikari spiritual master different or non-different in quality and intent than Krishna? Okay, let me go down a little bit. The purpose of such spiritual master as Narada Muni, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Srila Prabhupada must be understood to be non-different than that of Lord Krishna. 2. Lord Krishna is inhabited by innumerable eternally liberated infinitesimal jivas who are participating in the eternal rasas with Lord Krishna, who is infinite, and hence they are equal in quality but not equal in quantity to Krishna, who is worshipped by pure Uttam Adhikari devotees of Lord Krishna on innumerable material planets as well as in the spiritual sky. 3. There is a quantitative difference, but not a qualitative difference between the Uttam Adhikari devotee and Lord Krishna. Okay, we're on page 3. 3. Those who descend to participate in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya were all Uttam Adhikaris, and many were intimate participants in Lord Krishna's Krishna Loka pastimes. 4. The Sampradaya Acharyas of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya are all Uttam Adhikaris and often manifestations of high-ranking gopis and other residents of Krishna Loka. For that reason alone, they are not different than Krishna in terms of spiritual quality. E. When taking Diksha from the Uttam Adhikari pure devotee spiritual master, does the disciple retain his free will in terms of viewpoint of opinion separate from that of the spiritual master? 1. The entire purpose of a willing disciple taking Diksha from the Uttam Adhikari spiritual master is to receive transcendental realization and guidance that such worthy disciple can obtain from no other source. 2. Each and every jiva after taking Diksha from the Uttam Adhikari spiritual master always retains the same free will, which is the symptom of his eternal existence, which as a liberated soul or as a conditioned soul, whether as a liberated soul or a conditioned soul. 3. The clear and absolute distinction between the bona fide spiritual master and the disciple is that the initiated disciple can never misuse his own eternal free will by going against the clearly manifested direct signed order of the pure devotee spiritual master. 4. The exact distinction of the disciple in relationship to the bona fide spiritual master is that the disciple voluntarily relinquishes his own authority and, even in mundane military terms, accepts the order of the spiritual master as his life and soul. 5. The initiated disciple then uses his free will. No, 5. The initiated disciple then uses his free simply to fulfill and never oppose.
I think you're supposed to be free will.
Okay. The initiated disciple uses his free will simply to fulfill and never oppose the clearly expressed instructions of the Uttam Adhikari spiritual master. 6. In terms of authority, the direction of management is not different than Srila Prabhupada himself. Okay. We're at page 4 now. At what point can the disciple disagree with the order or instruction of the bona fide spiritual master? This is a good title. At what point can the disciple disagree with the order or instruction of the bona fide spiritual master? 1. Disciple means discipline. There can be no question of disagreement or disobedience. 2. Even in mundane military, disobedience is often punishable by death. 3. Disobedience to the order of the spiritual master is exactly equal to personally disobeying Lord Krishna. 4. The order of the Uttam Adhikari spiritual master are designed to deliver the fallen conditioned souls from repeated birth and death and to be restored to their original residency in Krishna Loka. 5. Unless a so-called disciple is actually motivated by his personal illicit desire for money and power, he will have no motive whatsoever to not obeying the merciful orders of his bona fide spiritual master. 6. The order of the Uttam Adhikari spiritual master is not different than if that same order were given directly to the initiated disciple by Lord Krishna in person. 7. Without an illicit material desire for money and power and other motive could possibly derail the initiated disciple of a pure devotee from eagerly and willingly obeying the DOM, direction of management, thereby delivering countless millions of fallen conditioned souls. The disciple can never disagree with an instruction given to him by the Uttam Adhikari spiritual master, who is a direct representative of Lord Krishna. Okay, we're at page 4 now. If a person who is initiated by the bona fide spiritual master openly disobeys or otherwise disagrees with his bona fide spiritual master, does he retain his status as a disciple? Number 1, the Nectar of Devotion discusses this exact issue regarding the initiated disciple being deluded by para attachment. 2. Residing in the transcendental glow of his Uttam Adhikari spiritual master, he begins to think that his apparently transcendental glow is actually being generated by his own amazing spiritual advancement. 3. Whether this foolish, deluded neophyte does not tend to realize what this foolish, deluded neophyte does not tend to realize is that he is simply reflecting the glow of the Uttam Adhikari pure devotee, and he can even entertain his maha aparad that he has become equal to or even superior to his bona fide spiritual master. 4. The notion of kill guru, become guru may even enter his mind. Interesting.
Direct quote.
Yeah, that's Prabhupada's quote. 5. There is no scope, nor has there ever been, for a disciple to disobey the direct written order of the Uttam Adhikari spiritual master. Okay. H. What is the simplest description of the relationship between the Uttam Adhikari spiritual master and his genuine initiated disciple? A genuine disciple of a bona fide spiritual master considers every nuance of instruction of his Uttam Adhikari spiritual master to be his life and soul. 2. The bona fide disciple neither adds nor subtracts from the order of his Uttam Adhikari spiritual master. 3. He knows full well from whence the order of his bona fide spiritual master flows. Okay, we're at page 6. Is a written what is contractual agreement created between the spiritual master and one or more of his disciples an absolute agreement, and that cannot under any circumstances be abrogated. What does abrogated mean? It means not followed?
Yeah,
Okay.
broken, really.
Okay, broken. Okay. Number 1, it is not only an absolute agreement between the disciple and the Uttam Adhikari spiritual master, but it is, by that token, an agreement between the initiated disciple and Lord Krishna himself. 2, such written agreement, direction of management, presently exists between Lord Krishna and Srila Prabhupada as the Uttam Adhikari spiritual master and certain select disciples. 3, it is not only binding between all signatories whose names appear on the document, but it is binding between each of the signatories and Lord Krishna personally as well. Number 4, no disciple has the option to change his mind regarding his signature on such a document once it has been signed and witnessed. 5, the only way to have reversed the authority of the direction of management would have been for Srila Prabhupada to have created a new document with all of the original participants in full signature agreement. 6, no alternative document was ever generated by Srila Prabhupada to replace or amend the direction of management. 7, as written, the direction of management will remain bona fide and enforceable until the end of the 10,000 years of the golden age of Kali. 8, no one has the authority to modify or nullify the direction of management, as Lord Krishna himself is the actual author acting through his pure devotee Srila Prabhupada. Okay, we're on page 7 now. What is the penalty for gross disobedience of the written order or instruction of the bona fide Uttam Adhikari spiritual master? Number 1, the penalty for disobedience to the Uttam Adhikari spiritual master cannot be calculated by the brains of mortal man. The punishment will certainly correspond to the material and spiritual development of the offender in this and future lives. It is a great offense to disobey the direction of management, which was the essential primal order of the spiritual master. 3, it is obvious that millions of more humans and other jivas would have been able to take shelter of many thousands or more ISKCON temples. Millions of human beings' lives were lost as a result of wars unnecessarily, but due to a world climate of spiritual ignorance over the last 40 plus years. 5, the blood of those millions who might have been redeemed by worldwide DOM enhanced ISKCON temples will rest squarely on the shoulders of those who signed the direction of management and then openly and willfully refused to ever obey it. 6, Srila Prabhupada knew exactly what to do, and blinded by their lust for power and money, these rascal GBC initiates did not. 7, the blood of millions of human beings is on their hands. K, what is the path of redemption for a disciple who has dared to disobey the verbal or written order of his spiritual master? Note, the example below will shed some light on the eventual punishment and subsequent redemption. Just as Krishna is always kind, the Uttam Adhikari spiritual master is also always kind. 2, Jad Bharat is an example of a saintly holy devotee who fell from a cliff during a harsh rainstorm and accidentally took his birth as a deer. As a series of basically strange birds, Jad Bharat was fully redeemed. 3, one thing is certain, whoever commits even the greatest offense against the pure devotee of the Lord will ultimately earn back his path of redemption. 4. Lord Chaitanya banned his disciple Murari Gupta from having his association for 10,000 years. This was a crushing blow to Murari Gupta. Sometime later, Lord Chaitanya asked his personal servant, "What is Murari Gupta doing?" The servant looked and reported back that Murari Gupta was dancing in extreme ecstasy and crying out, "In only 10,000 mortal years, I will be once again admitted to the association of Lord Chaitanya." Hearing this, Lord Chaitanya forgave his offense and admitted him back to his association immediately. Nonetheless, the fact that one is not intermediately dragged in the court of Manu or Yamaraj is not an indication that severe punishment that need for rectification can be avoided after the disobedient GBC usurper has left his body.
Somebody that unfairly takes over.
Oh, yes. Usurper, yes. We must understand that the punishment of Guru Aparad, such as holding GBC meetings without informing Srila Prabhupada, electing a new GBC member against Srila Prabhupada's desire, actually overturning Srila Prabhupada's direction of management and replacing it with their own non-elected corporate organization, clearly based on their refusal to disobey the direction of management, is a very great offense to the lotus feet of Krishna's pure devotee on earth indeed. 7. That such aparad was based on the individual members of the newly created GBC basing their godless plan making or their indistinguished lust for power and money guarantees their misfortune that their future lives will bring. Guarantee their misfortune that their future lives will bring. L. Can the disciple legitimately question or refuse to obey the order of the spiritual master if he holds the opinion that the spiritual master's order is somehow mistaken or somehow wrong? Okay, we're at page 9 now. One may reject a rascal bogus guru whose trickery schemes are based on money and power. Such person's plan is name, fame, and cheating his disciples out of their money. 2. Many such rascals exist, and they must be rejected immediately. Many such rascals exist, and they must be rejected immediately. Therefore, one must surrender to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and the last Sampradaya Acharya, whose only motive is to deliver the fallen conditioned souls in behalf of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna in the form of the Yuga Avatar, Lord Chaitanya. The last Sampradaya Acharya Srila Prabhupada is to be immediately accepted as one's bona fide spiritual master, and his every word and instruction must be followed to the ultimate degree. 5. Such disciples are to be understood to be on the Kanishta Adhikari platform, and since Kanishta is a gradual development process, minor personal defects and gradual spiritual development are to be expected. 6. Such overlooked flaws do not apply to signing the direction of management, as personal behavior can sometimes be overlooked by the Acharya, but deliberate rejection of essential principles of organizational structure as established by Lord Krishna via his infallible representative, the Uttam Adhikari Acharya, cannot. Okay, so this is the last paragraph. The above are the basic considerations to determine if a spiritual crime has been committed by those GBC members who refused to fully obey the direct and absolute order of their bona fide spiritual master, to whom they at Diksha pledged without exception to surrender their life and soul. All right, so I've just read this document, the whole 9 pages. So if anyone on Facebook and YouTube would like a copy of it, please just message me in the WhatsApp group. The link is posted in the description, and this document is posted in the group. So we're at 10 minutes past 8. Prabhus?
Hey, does Mohit have anything to say?
Nothing else, Haribol. It's point blank on target, and I think you've done a great job, bro. So, yeah.
I couldn't understand.
He said it's point blank on the document, and you have done the good service of writing it. So that's he said.
So you think it would hold up in the Supreme Court?
He can fight against any Supreme Court.
And how about in the Supreme Court of Yamaraj?
Great. It would be a great fight.
And even going beyond that, perhaps the Court of Manu.
Yeah.
So do you think that's okay?
Yeah, bro. I think it's superb. Yeah.
This is a process after 40 years or so of a process of condemnation of a path that was taken, and I'm squarely placing that the deaths of millions occurred because Krishna consciousness stopped being the Hare Krishna explosion that I agree with described it as being, and became sort of a Krishna conscious implosion where the whole effort was to maintain the existing temples, never mind expanding and then having difficulty in controlling them. With the direction of management, the individual temples are supposed to control themselves, not be controlled by a Vatican-type totalitarian group that keeps a stranglehold on their throats. Okay?
Yeah. Ramachandra, should we close on this?
Yeah, we're just about. So thank you to all the devotees for joining. If they have any questions, comments,
I have a real quick question. Did you get any things online?
Oh, let me check that real fast. Hold on 1 second. We did get some stuff. Let's see.
We should, if possible, just even answer small way, or say that we will then bring it up on Wednesday and expand into a big way.
Yeah, so there was some comments here.
Can you read it?
Yeah.
Remember, we must, our life and soul, our life's blood is honoring those who make comments.
Okay, so one devotee said,
comments is our guru.
Okay, so one devotee is asking, put the document on Google Drive and post the link in your description, Prabhu, Haribol. And Arishta Prabhu asked the question, what is the need? What is needed for the 10,000 years? So that was
These were in response to the reading.
Yes. What is needed for the? He's asking what is needed for the 10,000, and capital is needed to move forward. So
yeah.
Yeah. So he's saying, to make this progress, what do you need?
Well,
money.
It seems as though that they're nibbling at the bait.
What do you mean?
Well, they're accepting that this is worth doing.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Arishta Prabhu said capital is needed to move forward. To make this a reality, to inform people of this, certainly capital is needed. You have to have programs, meetings, discussions, question and answers to educate people. Yes, certainly capital is needed.
Somebody said that?
No, I'm saying that.
You're saying that. Okay, great. And were there any comments or questions from before we read the document?
let's see. Yeah, there were some comments. LOL, smashed it, Prabhu. You are not the mind. In different elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, both forms of material nature, namely gross earth, etc., and subtle mind, etc. These are inferior energies. Eating, so people are commenting, eating, mating, sleeping, and defending, LOL. He asked the symptoms of the soul, LOL. If you are on top of the tower waiting to jump, what is telling the person to jump or to contemplate on jumping? Your mind is telling you to jump, and the intelligence within the heart, the super soul, tells you not to. There is divine intelligence.